If you think you're not addicted to sugar, but you still crave something sweet every single day, or maybe you feel out of control around dessert, or you feel like your energy crashes unless you snack constantly, then this video is for you. Because let's be honest, sugar addiction does not look the way most people think that it does. It's not about being addicted to donuts or eating candy all day. It's subtle, it's normalized, and it can hide behind words like moderation, balance, 80-20, and even healthy treats. Don't get me wrong here, I am all about the balance and I do love a healthy sweet treat, but I also don't feel like I need it every single day. I used to, and we'll get there, I'm gonna talk more about that, but there's a very fine line between indulging and enjoying dessert here and there and needing to have it every single day. I hear women say all of the time, I eat really well, and I'm sure that they do. They are cooking majority of their meals at home. They are avoiding obvious junk food. They aren't crushing chocolate bars and Snicker bars every single night. And yet, they are still dependent on sugar at some point in their day to maybe calm themselves down at night or after a stressful day, or to even just truly feel satisfied after a meal. That's because your sugar addiction doesn't just disappear because your plate of food looks clean. It disappears when your brain and your blood sugar stop relying on it. So let's talk about the real signs that show you are addicted. I had to have a very real conversation actually yesterday with my best friend exactly on this topic, which is what inspired me to talk about it with you. And if this is already resonating with you, that might mean that you may be in a little bit of denial, but I am here to support you. So let's jump into it. If you feel like you need a little something sweet every single day, and especially at night after dinner, this is one of the clearest signs. And it's not because having dessert or having something sweet is bad, it's because your body and your mind are both now conditioned to having it. If dessert feels automatic, expected, or necessary in order to complete your day or your meal, that's not just enjoyment, that is addiction. And trust me, I know that there are way worse things that we can be addicted to, right? What's wrong with a little something sweet? But the reality is when you actually wean yourself back from it, I'll give you a perfect example. Right now, we are doing our 7-day reset, power reset on Shape, and we have a 7-day meal plan that is sugar-free. So it's also January. I love to do a sugar detox for at least 7 days at the beginning of the year. That is happening right now, and I am on day 4 of no sugar. And after I would say even 2 days of doing absolutely no sugar, I was not craving anything after dinner because even me, I'm guilty. I will automatically go to having a date with some chocolate or peanut butter after dinner almost every single night. And again, I'm not having sugar throughout my day, so it's fine, it's okay, right? But I also don't wanna feel like I need to. And when you get into that habit, it's like what I said, your body and your mind is just conditioned to having it when it's like, I wanna be able to not have it some nights, right? Like, I wanna be okay with just having dinner, period. Having a tea maybe, brushing my teeth, going to bed eventually, and not needing that little something sweet. Again, having a little something sweet after dinner, is it really that big of a deal? No, but here is a big clue. How do you react when actually skipping it? If you feel irritated, deprived, or start self-negotiating with what maybe you can have instead, this is a clear sign that your brain is still relying on sugar for dopamine and comfort. Someone who's not addicted to sugar may enjoy dessert, of course, when it's there in front of you. If I'm out for dinner, I will always be saying yes to dessert because I am not going out for dinner all of the time. But it's about not feeling unsettled when you don't have that dessert. That's the main difference. If your nervous system is feeling edgy without it, sugar is playing a way bigger role than you think. This is where sugar addiction hides in plain sight. If your cravings spike when you are feeling overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, even exhausted, sugar has probably become a coping mechanism, and it is by no means random. It is true, sugar does temporarily lower stress hormones, which is why we just gravitate to wanting that little bit of ice cream when when we've had an argument with a partner or a friend, or a long day, or we want some cookies when we had a bad sleep the night before. It's giving us a little bit of a relief, but it is also giving our brain some dopamine, and dopamine is our happy hormone. It is going to make us feel better, but again, it's temporary. But of course, it does feel comforting and grounding in the moment. The real problem is that this relief is very short-lived. The crash that follows, of course, they talk about, especially with kids, how you have a lot of sugar and you have that sugar high, but then you crash, making you feel irritated and tired and more likely to just start craving it again. It's this really big cycle. Over time, you're going to train your brain that sugar equals comfort, and your brain will actually start asking for it every single time you become uncomfortable. It is, like I mentioned, it's coping mechanism. Oh, had a bad day at work, let's have some cookies, it'll make it better. Oh, just broke up with my boyfriend, I'm gonna have some ice cream. Well, actually, if you just broke up with your boyfriend, you should definitely have some ice cream. But hopefully you're not breaking up and getting back together every single day, because that's just a lot. I did actually see something very interesting on the Glucose Goddess's Instagram recently. It was talking about women who are high functioning and very much disciplined. They are almost even at a higher risk of having this addiction to sugar, because you are depleting yourself by the time you get home at night, willpower is gone, your nervous system is fried, and sugar feels like that little escape and the fastest way to shut everything off. But the good news is this is not a character flaw. You just need to be rewired. How do we rewire ourselves? Well, we just need to cut it off and stop relying on it. I actually have a step-by-step plan in another YouTube video, which I will link here. Definitely watch it after. I give you a step-by-step guide on how to beat your sugar addiction, so it's definitely worth a watch. Fruit, dates, honey, and dark chocolate are all within that food, healthy, sweet treat food group that can still trigger overeating. And this is a hard conversation to have with a lot of people, because they look at these healthier choices that we label as healthy sweet treats, but the reality is this can still be a trigger or a sign that you are addicted to needing to have sweets. If you're eating healthier treats on a daily basis and you're feeling this urgency, this need, or loss of control, this is still a dopamine-driven response. Natural sugars, which we find even within fruit, still activates the same reward pathways in the brain. So I told you in the intro how I had to have this conversation with one of my best friends because I made her lunch 2 days ago and she needed to have something sweet. She's very thin. If anything, she's probably underweight because that's just genetically, she has more of a very slim model body, but that doesn't mean anything. The fact that she still needs to have sugar after lunch, she needs to have sugar after dinner. I told her there's something lacking in your diet. Maybe you're not having enough protein, or maybe you seriously are just addicted to sugar and it's not good. You shouldn't feel like you need it. That's the whole point of this. I still want everyone to indulge and enjoy. I have a sweet tooth. I love sweets. I would take a piece of cake over dinner literally every single day of the week. But I know that I'm going to have low energy. I'm gonna feel like crap. I'm not gonna be hitting the right macros, and it's just not nutritious. At the same time, you do not need to avoid these foods forever. If you are still craving these sweeter treats that are healthy, it just means that your brain is still highly sensitive to sugar, even though it's healthy. When that sensitivity calms down, sweet treats do not feel urgent or like a need. So once again, take a moment, food for thought, literally. Does this sound like me? If the answer is no, you're good. If the answer is yes, you may have some work to do. Lastly, I want to talk about having a lack of other macros in your diet. As I mentioned, maybe protein, fiber, or even how you start your morning can affect your addiction to needing sugar throughout the day. If you do feel flat, foggy, or irritable without sugar, your body has adapted to relying on quick glucose versus stable energy. This is very common with people who have coffee on an empty stomach without food. They're also maybe starting their breakfast, they're having something sweet instead of something savory. This automatically is going to spike your blood sugar and then give you that craving more throughout the day. On the other side of things, a regulated metabolism will again use fat, protein, fiber, stored energy to fuel you steadily. When I have a really high protein breakfast, I'm talking around 30 grams of protein. I'm also having collagen in my coffee, which is another 10 grams of protein. I know, don't come for me, it's not a complete protein, but I'm still having a substantial amount of food. My only sugar is coming from fruit, which I'm eating at the end of my meal. And trust me, this is why I'm telling you I literally don't eat sugar throughout the entire day, because I don't crave it. I'm satiated, I'm full. My brain is focused on my work or my filming or whatever I have to do in my day, not what am I going to eat next, or like what sugary snack do I have in my cabinet that I can grab. It's because my fiber and my protein and my fat, it's all filling me up. This is why we say breakfast is the most important meal of the day, because it is literally setting your body up for success for the entire day ahead. So if you do have, again, that sugar addiction or craving, really start trying to focus on those different macros, on the really important ones. Sugar isn't even considered a macro, but dial in on your protein, and I promise doing that alone will begin to lower those cravings. Eventually, once you do this consistently over time, your body will relearn how to fuel itself properly again. So in the end, if sugar still has a grip on you, no amount of workouts, no amount of calorie tracking or eating clean will fully change your body or your relationship with food and sugar. Unfortunately, you cannot out-discipline a dysregulated nervous system or elevated blood sugar. This is like the science that is happening within our body. We can't beat it. However, the good news is that this is so freaking fixable. Like, we can do it. And again, for the last time, I really do want you to know that sugar addiction isn't about cutting everything out sweet. Again, I eat sugar. I just try not to need to have it every single day. It's more so about rebuilding stability so your cravings quiet down, energy evens out, and food stops running your life. Food should be a very independent thing with how you look and feel and move and function every single day. Most women are addicted in a very subtle and socially acceptable way, so listen to the signs that we talked about in this video and truly reflect and ask yourself, is this me? And what are the maybe little habits that I can incorporate so that I can feel like the most energized, best version of me? So that is it for today, beauties. This was a long one. I feel like I had a lot to say this time about sugar. Let me know your thoughts, comments, beliefs below. I am going to include a free sugar-free recipe guide below. You can find it in the description. Thank you, as always, for being here, for listening, for watching, for taking everything I say into consideration to make you a healthier version of you. And make sure to check out my other videos on sugar addiction. You can find them here.